I was standing in front of the mirror, a tiny brush trembling in my hand. My sister's lipstick rested on the counter. Soft pink, the shade she said was only for girls who mattered. I just wanted to see what it felt like to look normal, not beautiful, just not invisible. The door burst open so fast the mirror rattled. Mom's voice sliced through the air. "Whose makeup is that?" I froze. I just borrowed it. I was going to put it back. She crossed the room in 2 strides. Her eyes were sharp, the kind that never softened. "You think you can steal what's not yours and become her?" Her? She meant my sister Marlene, the perfect one. The one who got the good plates, the new clothes, the compliments that began and ended every meal. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. "I wasn't stealing," I whispered. She turned away for a second, and I thought maybe it would pass. Maybe she'd just scold me. But then she opened the closet and pulled out Dad's metal rod, the one he used to straighten the garden stakes. "Put your leg out," she said flatly. I backed up until my calves hit the dresser. "Mom?" Her voice didn't rise. That made it worse. "You want to be like Marlene? You'll remember what happens when you try." The first strike landed before I could speak. A white, hot pain tore through my shin. I gasped, tried to move, but the second one came faster, then the third. My knees buckled and I fell hard, the rod clattering beside me. Marlene appeared in the doorway, a towel around her hair. "Mom, what are you doing?" she said, but not in panic, in disgust. "She's such a drama queen." I lay there shaking, tears blurring everything. "Please stop," I begged, my voice too small to be heard. Mom leaned down, her breath close to my ear. "You'll remember this," she said, calm and cold, "every time you walk." She stood up, handed the rod to Marlene like it was nothing, and walked out. Marlene tossed it on the floor. "You're pathetic," she said, and left the door wide open as she went. The pain pulsed up my legs, deep and dull, the kind that feels like it's crawling under your skin. I tried to move, but every step felt like fire. Hours later, I limped outside. The evening air smelled like rain and rust. Our neighbors' lights were on, laughter echoing faintly from the house next door. For a second, I imagined knocking, asking someone, anyone, to help. But who would believe me? Everyone thought my mom was sweet, polite, generous. I made it to the front gate before she called from the window. "If you walk out that door, don't come back crying when you can't handle life." Her silhouette in the light looked almost peaceful. I didn't answer. I walked anyway, one uneven step at a time. The road blurred as the pain crawled higher. I reached the small park 2 streets away and sat on the cold bench. My hands still smelled like powder and metal. A little girl was swinging nearby, her mother pushing her gently, smiling every time the swing came back. I couldn't look away. The sound of that child's laughter made something ache deep in my chest. Not jealousy, just longing. When they left, I touched the dirt under the bench, cold against my palms, and whispered, "You'll remember this too, Mom." Because I would. Every limp, every ache, every night I'd close my eyes and hear that calm voice saying, "You'll remember this." It wasn't just pain she gave me, it was proof. Proof that she'd break me to protect her favorite, proof that I wasn't family, just a reminder of what she didn't want to see. I stayed in that park until the streetlights flickered out. Then I limped home, slow, quiet, not because I forgave her, but because I wanted her to see me walk through that door again. Her eyes widened when she saw me standing there in the doorway, covered in dirt, face swollen but unbroken. "You should have stayed out," she said, folding her arms. I didn't blink. "You told me to remember," I said softly. "I will." She stared for a second, something uncertain flickering in her face. Fear, maybe. Then she turned away. That night, I lay in my bed with my legs throbbing under the blanket, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slow circles. Each turn whispered a promise in my head. "One day, you'll remember too." And as the house went quiet and her footsteps faded down the hallway, I realized I wasn't the broken one anymore. She was. She just didn't know it yet. I woke up late the next morning, my legs stiff and swollen, each movement sending a sting up my spine. The room smelled of dust and anger. Mom's voice drifted from the kitchen, calm, almost cheerful, like nothing had happened. The normalcy made me dizzy. I sat up slowly, the blanket sticking to my skin, and listened. Marlene was laughing about something. Dishes clattered. Life went on without me, as if my pain had never existed. When I hobbled to the doorway, Mom didn't even glance up. "If you're going to mope, do it quietly," she said. My throat tightened. My leg might be fractured. She kept slicing vegetables. "Then stop borrowing things that don't belong to you." Marlene chimed in, voice sweet but sharp. "Don't act like a victim. You always make her look bad, then cry for pity." I looked at the two of them, their calm faces, their cruel ease, and realized that in this house, suffering was entertainment. That evening, Dad came home from work. I thought maybe he'd notice, ask what happened, but when he saw the limp, he frowned. "What did you do now?" "Mom hit me," I said, voice trembling. He didn't even blink. "Then you must have deserved it. Don't make her angry." He sat down to eat while I stood by the counter, my body throbbing, my spirit hollow. I learned something then. Pain was useless here. It didn't move them, didn't shame them, didn't matter. So I stopped trying to be seen. Days blurred together. I worked quietly, cleaned the floors, did laundry, cooked when told. Every step reminded me of her words. "You'll remember this." And I did. Not out of fear anymore, but clarity. One afternoon, when they left for Marlene's friend's birthday, I sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the rod she'd used. It was leaning against the wall, faint dents on the metal. I ran my fingers over it, felt the cold weight, and thought about how easily it had stolen my dignity. But something in me had shifted since that night. The same limp she gave me now reminded me that I could survive anything. That realization wasn't healing. It was armor. That week, I found a part-time job at a thrift shop on the edge of town. I didn't tell anyone. Every coin I earned, I hid inside the hem of my pillowcase. Mom started noticing I was quieter. "What are you plotting now?" she sneered. "Nothing," I said. "Just remembering." Her eyes narrowed, but she didn't push. By the time the bruise marks faded, I was saving enough to leave. Each night I'd sit by the window, watching their laughter spill from the living room, my sister trying on dresses, Mom complimenting her, Dad nodding proudly. It looked perfect from outside, but I'd been on the inside long enough to know the truth. Perfection can be cruelty in disguise. One evening, I overheard Mom telling Marlene, "I can't wait till she finally leaves. She's a curse on this house." They laughed, and my hand gripped the window frame so tight my knuckles turned white. That night, I packed quietly, a few clothes, a book, the pillow with the stitched coins. I wasn't running away. I was walking out with purpose. But before I left, I went to the hallway closet and took the rod. Not out of vengeance, but as a reminder. I bent it slightly with my weight until it warped, useless now, and slid it under their bed. They'd wake up tomorrow and never know why it wouldn't fit the garden stakes anymore. But every time Mom saw it, she'd remember the day she used it. And maybe, deep down, feel that unease she once made me feel. I walked out quietly, limp, steady, heart sharp. I didn't look back, not even once. I left before sunrise. The street was quiet, the kind of quiet that hums when you're finally doing something irreversible. My bag was light, my body heavy, but I kept walking until the house disappeared behind me. The limp was worse that morning, but it didn't matter. It felt like the pain belonged to someone else now, someone I'd already buried. The thrift shop owner, a gray-haired woman named Lydia, noticed right away. "You look like you've been carrying weight that isn't yours," she said, not prying, just seeing. For the first time in years, someone looked at me and didn't see a problem to fix, just a person trying to stand. She let me stay in the small storage room behind the shop. I folded clothes, fixed seams, swept floors. The scent of old fabric and dust was oddly comforting. It smelled like forgotten stories. Lydia paid me cash every Friday. I never told her what I was saving for. Freedom doesn't need an explanation. Months passed. My legs healed awkwardly, leaving a faint limp. Some nights, it hurt more, especially when it rained. But I didn't hate it anymore. It reminded me of the day I stopped begging for love that cost me everything. Then, one afternoon, Lydia came into the back room holding a folded newspaper. "They're looking for help at the community center," she said. "You'd be good there. They teach sewing, reading, all that." I hesitated. "I don't know if I can teach anyone." "You don't have to teach," she smiled. "Just be there. Sometimes that's enough." The first day I walked into that center, kids were sitting cross-legged on the floor, laughing, fighting, loud in all the ways my house never was. One little girl tugged my sleeve and asked, "Miss, did it hurt when you fell?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" She pointed at my leg. "You walk like my grandma. She says that's her superhero walk." I smiled for real then, the first one that didn't feel borrowed. "Yeah," I said softly. "It's kind of like that." Every afternoon after that, I stayed longer, reading stories, mending toys, helping with homework. The ache in my leg didn't disappear, but it stopped being the first thing I noticed. Until one evening, I was closing up when the center door creaked open, and that voice, the one I thought I'd erased, crawled through. "Evelyn?" Mom stood in the doorway, thinner, pale, her hair streaked with gray that wasn't there before. She looked around like she was afraid someone would see her. "You're hard to find," she said. I didn't move. "You didn't look before." She exhaled shakily. "Your father left. Marlene moved to another city. The house... It's too quiet." I waited. No sympathy rose. "I came because..." She swallowed. "I shouldn't have... That night with the rod, I cut her off gently. "Don't finish that sentence. You'll only say it to make yourself feel lighter." She blinked, eyes watering. "You hate me." I looked at her, really looked, and realized something strange. I didn't. Hate requires energy, and she'd already taken too much of mine. "I don't hate you," I said calmly. "I just don't need you." Her lips trembled. "You sound like your father." "Maybe," I said, "but I'll never sound like you." She stepped closer, voice pleading now. "Come home, please. It's not the same without..." I laughed, quiet but sharp. "Home? You mean the place where you made me bleed for using lipstick?" Her face crumpled. "I was angry. I didn't mean..." "Yes, you did," I said, my voice steady. "You always meant it. The difference is now, I remember without pain." She covered her mouth, sobbing softly. The sound should have broken me, but it didn't. It felt hollow. I picked up my bag and walked past her toward the door. She reached out instinctively, maybe to stop me, maybe to hold me. I'll never know. I stepped aside. "You'll remember this," I said quietly. Her breath caught. For a moment, her eyes widened, not from pain, but recognition. I left her standing there, in the same silence she'd once left me in. Outside, the evening sky burned orange. Kids ran past laughing, the kind of laughter that sounds like forgiveness, not because anyone deserves it, but because life keeps moving. That night, I went back to the shop and sat with Lydia while she counted the register. She didn't ask where I'd been. She just handed me a cup of tea. "You look lighter," she said. I smiled faintly. I finally stopped remembering the way she wanted me to. Lydia nodded. "Good. Some memories aren't worth the space they take." I looked out the window, at the streetlight flickering, at the shadow of my limp stretching long across the floor. It wasn't a flaw anymore. It was my proof. Proof that I survived the people who tried to teach me pain and turned it into strength they could never understand. The next morning, I went back to the community center, humming softly as I unlocked the door. The same little girl ran to me, laughing. "You walk like a hero again, Miss Evelyn." This time, I didn't correct her. I just smiled and said, "Yeah, I do." Because somewhere between the rod, the limp, and the silence, I'd finally learned how to stand. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.